Every now and again, I get a question that I think could help you as a homeowner solve a problem. And today's question is about pressure issues on a well. And more particularly, we have good pressure on the main floor, but when we get to the top floor, we've got bad pressure. And if we run the water long enough, now the bottom floor also has bad pressure. What do you think is going on? Leave a comment below. Tell me, what do you think is happening in that well system to cause that exact circumstance to happen? And then we're going to talk about what's going on, and I'm going to give you the answer. But before you watch the rest of this video, leave your comment below. Let me know, what do you think's happening to cause this issue? Let's get into it. The first thing we have to look at is our well. This right here is the actual well casing. Obviously, it's an older style because it's in the home. But our pump is going to be in here. It's going to push the water up through the filter and ultimately down to the pressure tank. The pressure tank is this blue device right here. We're going to see a gray switch. That's our pressure switch. That's what turns the well pump on and off. I have water running right now just so I can show you what's happening. So we've got our check valve, which prevents the water from the tank in the house going back to the well. Pressure switch. Pressure tank's the blue thing. Our shut-off valve's over here. Pressure relief valve on the right, and on the left is our hose bib. How this system works is the pump in the well is going to push the water up and into the home. The gray box is our pressure switch. We've covered those plenty of times on this channel, but for those of you who are new to the channel and to this content, a pressure switch is what turns the well pump on and off. Most of them are going to have a 20-point swing. So 30-50 switch, 40-60 switch, whatever, it'll be a 20-point swing. Nowadays, almost everybody's putting in a 40-60 switch, meaning when the pressure in the pipe drops to 40 psi, you're going to hear a click sound as that switch engages, and the pump's going to turn on and push water to the home till it gets to 60 psi, at which point, clicks again, and the pump is off. This switch is not a smart switch. It's just a spring, and it relies on the pressure pushing up on it. If you have water coming out of the well, it should have a clear, direct path to the pressure tank. The pressure tank is going to store the force of your pump and hold it for whenever you turn on your kitchen sink, your bathtub, shower, whatever. It's going to hold that force as pneumatic energy, and the pump is not always going to be on. Now, obviously, if you turn the spigot outside on, let it run for an hour, the pump is probably going to engage, and it's probably not going to cycle, meaning the pump is going to be supplying pressure. But in normal day-to-day use, the pump is not the main pressure source of your house. It will push the water into your pressure tank. It will pressurize that water in the pressure tank, and then the pressure tank will push the water through the home. From there, now we got to start thinking about our question. We have good pressure on the first floor, bad pressure on the second floor, but if we run it long enough, now we also have pressure issues in the middle or the bottom floor. We got to start thinking about choke points and restriction of flow. So we typically will have 3 potentials. Maybe 4, if we really want to get a little bit stretched out. One of them is going to be the well itself. That's going to be if your well is not productive. Let's just say you have a 0.5 gallon per minute well, and it's not pushing any water at all. You may not have enough water readily available to actually get the pressure into the home. If you have a good ample amount of water, you can get whatever pressure you want. But if you don't have a lot of water, guess what? You're not going to get good pressure. So we could have a pressure tank, or we could have a pressure issue in the house because of a bad, low-yielding well. Well, that answer doesn't really fit the problem that we're having. Because again, we have good pressure, normal pressure, at the lowest level. Highest level, we've got bad pressure. So if we had a low-yielding well, we would have bad pressure at both, and it would not decrease the longer you ran it. So then now, the next part could be, maybe it's the pump. Let's just say that we've got really, really gritty water, and as that water's going through, it's messing up the impellers, or a super old pump where maybe the motor's just not quite doing what it used to do again, and you're getting a low flow. Again, the same issue we would run into with a low-yielding well, we would run into with that issue as well. We don't see consistent pressure. So now we've got to start thinking about our next 2 options. The next 2 options are going, well, 1 option, but maybe 2. It's going to be a restriction of flow at some point in the house. What do I mean by this? I mean filtration and if we really want to get into it, an aerator. But the grand scheme of it, it's a restriction point of some variety. When you have a well system, a lot of times you're going to see that there's a sediment filter in place. If you have a filter, that's going to be a restriction point in your flow. Let's go look at one real quick. What we're looking at here is an A.O. Smith sediment filter. Now, we've got the water running so that you can see inside of there. You see how gnarly that cartridge looks? You can see the air bubbles going through, and you can see the water's flowing. But we can see that the water is not flowing all that fast. Why this matters is because the filter is your restriction point. So if we have water flowing out of the pressure tank at a good rate, let's just say that we're checking the pressure tank, everything's fine. If we have water flowing out of the pressure tank and then it starts to slow down, the filter is your problem. And here's why. If you're not running water, even if that filter's slow, it's able to get enough pressure in the house to where you don't notice that you have a problem. But because it's a well, the further up and away from the pressure tank you get, you are going to lose pressure in the system. Meaning, on the lowest level floor, where you're closer to the pressure tank, the pressure will stay higher than if you go to the second floor. But the problem is, the moment you start running the water, now that pressure, or that filter, is restricting your flow, and the pressure in the system drops as a total. How do you fix it? You just change the filter. Let's talk about some methods to diagnose that problem, though, as a homeowner. The first thing you're going to want to do is walk over to your pressure tank and hook a hose up to it. What you're going to want to do is just like what I have here. You hook a hose up and you run the water. You're going to want to look at the pressure gauge to see where it's at. This particular one is a 40-60 switch, and obviously the pressure is low, but that's because we have a lower yielding well and we're doing a different project. But this one's a great example of what we're talking about, though. So you hook up your hose, you can see where the pressure's at. Run it for 3-5 minutes, see what happens. Ideally, it should stay between 40 and 60 psi the entire time. You're going to hear the pressure switch, which is that gray box, cycle periodically, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. Doing this is going to make it to where you can actually check if the pump or the well itself is a problem. If you hook a hose up to this pressure tank and it runs perfectly fine, the pressure's perfectly fine, you can eliminate the well pump or the well itself as being your restriction point. So then the next step is to move to the filter. As we look at this filter, the best way to go ahead and check to see if it works is to put it in bypass. A lot of houses will have a bypass assembly where it's actually hard piped. This particular house does not have that, but pictured above, you're going to see some houses that do. From there, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go ahead and take this filter out. So if you remove the filter inside of this canister, you're going to be able to see if it increases your flow. If you remove the filter entirely and then you start to run the water, check to see if the pressure's consistent now. If we've already eliminated the pressure tank, the well pump as our problem, we know we've got good pressure there. If we remove the filter from service, we're able to see, did we solve the problem? If we solved the problem, now we know the filter was our issue the entire time. When you have a filter like this, you should change it out every 3 or so months. Some houses, you might have more dirty water where you might have to do it every month. Some houses, you might have incredibly crystal clear water and you might not have to do it but once every 6 months. But there's one more little spot that you should check if the filter's good and you're still having pressure issues. Let's go to the bathroom and take a look at what's called an aerator. So what we're looking at is the faucet. Now, on the faucet, you're going to see this little fella right down here. This is called the aerator. Just about every faucet will have one of these on it, even your kitchen sink. To get this off, all you have to do is grab it by hand. Sometimes you have to use your sleeve in order to get it to come all the way off, and it just spins like so. You rotate it off, and you'll see that this is our aerator. Now, notice how small this is. What can happen is dirt and debris can get stuck in the aerator, causing a clog, meaning you're going to get low flow. There are other aerators that are recessed into the faucet, and that's going to look like this. All you need to get those types of aerators out is a key that looks like this. You can pick them up at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. All you need to do is take that key, put it in there, rotate, and the aerator will also come out. Alternatively, you can use a screwdriver, but be careful using a flathead because it is plastic, so you'll destroy the plastic and run into some problems. Pressure issues are common on wells. It's a natural product of how wells work. They are a natural thing, so sometimes you'll get sediment that comes through the water. All you have to do is check the filters, check the aerators, and you as a homeowner, you might be able to get away from not having to pay a plumber to come on out and spend a few $100s to have them do exactly what I just showed you. If you found this informative, you know what to do. And if you guessed in the beginning of this video, were you right? Don't edit your answer now, because I'll see. I'm just kidding, I can't see if you edited it, but it will say that you edited the comment. Hopefully you found this informative, hopefully you found this useful, and if you did find this useful, let me know. I really do appreciate it. I have videos posted every day on the world of well and septic, and I'll talk to you all next time.